What's up, guys? Welcome to the show. I hope you had a wonderful weekend. We got a lot to get through today. Loads of transfer news for the big clubs in the Premier League. So let's start off with Chelsea. Mason Mount is still being linked with a move to Manchester United. Apparently, Manchester United and Chelsea are still a little bit far on evaluation. An agreement can't be made. Manchester United value him at around 55 million. I don't know if this deal's going to get done. Man United, they don't want to budge. Chelsea, they don't want to budge. But I think they should budge. They want to get rid of these players. They obviously don't want these players. Financial fair play. They want to trim the squad down. But maybe it's a case that Pochettino likes Mason Mount and he's trying to keep him. Maybe that's the case. I do think that Mason Mount is a Pochettino sort of player. He's hard-working. He's good in the final third. He can get a goal when he's at his best. So maybe it's just the fact that Poch wants him. I think the chances or the likelihood of this deal going through is 50-50. Apparently, Mason Mount is ready to report back to pre-season training if this deal doesn't go through. So, it's sort of maybe a win-win situation for Mason Mount. I do see him getting game time under Poch. And I do see him getting game time with Manchester United. He would definitely improve that Manchester United midfield with his energy, with his endeavour. So Mason Mount is sitting tight. But I do think Chelsea would prefer to get rid of him. I do think the hierarchy at Chelsea would prefer to get rid of him. And it's all about if Manchester United and Chelsea can try and find a middle ground. Listen, Chelsea should just accept the 55 billion, get his wages off, and they've trimmed the squad down, and they can move forward, and Manchester United can move forward and everything. But the thing about it is they're strengthening their rivals. But I don't think Chelsea care at this point. Most of their players are going to Saudi that they don't want. So I don't really think they care. We know that Havertz is coming to Arsenal. Mason Mount could go to Manchester United, but I just think they just want to trim their squad down and work with the players that they want to work with so that the club can move forward. Still on Chelsea, Ruben Loftus-Cheek is close, apparently, to a permanent move to AC Milan. Now, I think this will be a phenomenal move for Ruben Loftus-Cheek. I think he's a good player. He's a talented midfielder, a little bit hampered with injuries, and maybe, a new challenge, a new country, a new club, a super club like AC Milan would be fantastic for him. He would be linking up with another one of his English compatriots, Tomori, who's been at AC Milan for a couple of years now and had tremendous success there. So I think that Ruben Loftus-Cheek and AC Milan would be fantastic. He would add a lot of power, box-to-box midfielder in that midfield, and it'd be a good replacement for Tonali, who has gone to Newcastle. Still on Chelsea, another player linked to AC Milan is Pulisic. He has been linked with a move to AC Milan. Now, we know that Pulisic wants to move away from Chelsea. We know that Chelsea want to get rid of Pulisic, but because they've had other priorities, the likes of Mendy, Koulibaly, Ziyech, Aspilicueta, who have all left the club, and others, Mason Mount, Kai Havertz, Pulisic is a little bit lower down on the priority list, but he wants a move. AC Milan is the destination that he wants, and AC Milan want him. Now, he would be a fantastic signing for AC Milan, who would like to get another title charge together. They won the Serie A title, not this season, back in 2022. So they would like to try and regain that title back again. And players like Pulisic and Ruben Loftus-Cheek would help them immensely. They've lost a big player in Tonali, but acquisitions like Ruben Loftus-Cheek and Pulisic would help them a long way. Manchester United, they've been quiet in the transfer window. We don't know what's going on. Are the Glazers going to sell? Are they not going to sell? This seems to be dragging out, a long time. Buying a club must be a complicated thing, but the Glazers don't seem to be helping. I don't know the ins and outs of it, but from where I'm looking, it doesn't look like they even want to sell the club, to be honest with you. But for Manchester United, it'd probably be in their best interests if they do sell the club to another owner who's got unlimited resources that can take Manchester United where they want to be and just challenge for the big honours, clear their debts, and they can move forward and sign players. The only real signing they've been linked with is Mason Mount. They've also been linked with Caicedo as an option, as well as Rabiot from Juventus as an option if they don't get Mason Mount. So if they don't meet the valuation, or if they can't find the middle ground with Chelsea, they might look to move on to try and sign Caicedo from Brighton or Rabiot from Juventus. So midfield is a priority to them. They also need a striker. I think that when they get the midfield position out of the way, which is priority, probably the defence as well, they'll move on to trying to get a striker. Probably two. Harry Kane would probably be high up on their priority list there. So Manchester City, they've got rid of Gundogan. He has been unveiled as a Barcelona player. We all know that they're in for Declan Rice. But Declan Rice is adamant, no, his favoured destination is Arsenal. We know he lives here, he's got a family, they're settled in London. And at Arsenal, he'd probably be the main man. He'd probably be Arsenal's future captain and would have a long-term future at the club. But they're also being linked possibly with a surprise move for James Maddison. Now, I think James Maddison would be... Listen, like I said previously, I don't think that Manchester City need a Declan Rice. They have Rodri, who's one of the best DMs in the world. Probably second best behind Casemiro. Rodri's a fantastic player. They have Phillips, who can also play that role. And I think Phillips is a decent player. And if he's given more game time, I see him being able to cover Rodri without much issue. I think that Phillips is more than an able deputy for Rodri. But what they really need is to replace Gundogan. The creativity, the endeavour, the final third passes, the goals. And Maddison, although he's not the same level as Gundogan, he's a lot younger than Gundogan. Gundogan's about, 31? Maddison's, mid to early 20s? And he's a fantastic player. He has a lot of talent. He has a lot of forward-thinking ability, the passing. He can grab a goal. He's got fantastic technique, flair. That would be more of, more like-for-like replacement for the player that they've lost. So I do think that Maddison to Manchester City is a fathomable thing. Now, we know that Leicester would have to lower their asking price if Tottenham want to sign Maddison. But I think Maddison should avoid Spurs. Avoid them. Because they're not on the way up, they're on the way down. And I'm not just saying that as an Arsenal supporter. Postecoglou is going to fail at Spurs. People that come from the Scottish Premier League, the SPL managers, don't do well. Rodgers was an exception. But he knew the Premier League beforehand with Liverpool, and he's an exceptional manager, Brendan Rodgers. So, Postecoglou, I just don't see it working. Especially if they lose Harry Kane. I mean, he either goes for free next summer, or he's dumb enough to sign a new contract. We all know he's dumb anyway. Or he just goes and grows some balls. So, Maddison should avoid Spurs. He should, if City want Maddison, he should go to City. If Newcastle want him, he should go to Newcastle. Those are two big clubs in a forward trajectory. Obviously, City just won the treble, and Newcastle are emerging in the Champions League. Now, that would make a lot of sense. And I think that Maddison to Manchester City would be a great move for both clubs and an ideal replacement for Gundogan. Fantastic. So, still on City, they've been a little bit quiet this transfer window. There's been a lot of players that have been linked with moves away. The likes of Kyle Walker linked with Bayern Munich. The likes of Bernardo Silva linked with Saudi. So I do think there's going to be players that Pep will get rid of, and he's going to bring in new, hungrier, younger players just to make sure that the forward momentum keeps going, that he's got a hungry squad that want to compete on all honours, similar to what Ferguson did. Ferguson got rid of players in their prime or just past their prime, and he got new players, hungry players, just to keep that success going. That's how he managed to be successful for such a long period of time, Sir Alex Ferguson. I think Pep is trying to emulate that, because he knows you got to have young, hungry players to keep the success, to keep the trophy winning going. They're also going to get rid of Cancelo. I think Barcelona are the favourites to sign Cancelo. I would like to see him at Arsenal, but if they're going to keep Tierney, I don't think we need Cancelo. I think that Zinchenko and Tierney are fantastic left backs on the left hand side for Arsenal. Newcastle, they've signed Tonali. I'm sure they're going to be in for other players. They do have FFP restrictions, so they can't splurge a huge amount of money, but they might sell players. I think Newcastle have a fantastic squad already. I think they've got a very good squad. Whether or not this squad is good enough to compete Champions League, Premier League on all fronts, I don't know. But I do think Newcastle will get into the top four again. As for the Champions League, I don't know how well they're going to do in that. Eddie Howe doesn't have any experience in the competition, but he's a fantastic manager. But I do think that Newcastle will get some more acquisitions in. Now, Arsenal, Kai Havertz is pretty much done. They done the medical on the weekend. I think they had to do it in a foreign country for, I think Havertz, his schedule was a little bit busy. So I think the Arsenal medical team and the hierarchy had to go out there to do it some foreign country. I don't know where it was. So Havertz to Arsenal is pretty much done. Fee agreed. Personal terms agreed. Medical done. That'll be announced this week. Timber from Ajax. Personal terms have been agreed, apparently. 5-year contract with Arsenal. It's just a case of if Ajax will accept the higher second bid. There's a lot of, most of the experts and sports media believe that Ajax will accept it. They will accept the second bid. That's about £55 million for Timber, and he will be an Arsenal player fairly soon, and he will give good cover at centre back and also at right back with Tomiyasu. So the defence is going to be a lot stronger than last season. And Declan Rice, apparently he said that his preferred destination is Arsenal. Like I've said previously, his family live in London, they're settled in London. He probably knows he'll be the main man at Arsenal, be the mainstay in that midfield, possibly the future captain. So I think that West Ham are encouraging Arsenal just to put in a bid that they will accept, so that this move can get done and, they get the money, we get the player, and Rice gets to move where he wants to move. I think that when Havertz is announced, when Timber is done and announced, then we will move on to try and get Rice over the line. We're also linked with the midfielder from PSV, Simmons, the young midfielder. I don't know how much truth there is in this. I know that the link there is strong. I know that Simmons wants to come to Arsenal. So Arsenal are trying to get their transfer window done early. Havertz is done. That'll be announced this week. Timber will probably be the next to be announced. And then hopefully we can put in a bid that West Ham will accept, that will get Rice over the line. We do need more bodies in that midfield. I think we're going to get rid of Xhaka. Maybe the likes of Jorginho and Partey will be going. So we're going to need at least two quality midfielders if we're going to lose two midfielders. Maybe even three. So Arsenal is looking good. Business is getting done early, and that's what you want. Big club, you want to act early, strike when the iron's hot. They've done well last season, even though we capitulated at the end, but they want to try and carry on that forward momentum and to make sure that we can compete on all fronts and try and win as many trophies as possible. And I like this because I read on YouTube that Kivior, the young Polish centre-half that we got in January, he was asked what he thought about Timber coming to Arsenal, and if he thought that it was a threat to his place. And I think he's a fantastic centre-back. He proved that towards the back end of last season, being one of our standout performers when the other players capitulated. And his response was, No, that he's happy that Timber is coming, that he would welcome him, and that we can win trophies together. And I love that mentality. You know, better players, massive squad, good 11, strong subs bench. That will give us more chance to win big trophies and to be successful. And that's the sort of mentality I want. Not this individualistic, selfish mentality. Team effort. Want to win trophies together as a team. And that's fantastic from Kiwior. And healthy competition, you know, competition for places. That's what, you know, makes players raise their level higher. If they're too comfortable, which has been seen to be at Arsenal, when players don't have competition for places, when they're too comfortable, when their place in the starting 11 is secure, the level goes down. When you have to look behind your shoulder because you know there's a player that can come and take your place, that's when you have to keep your level up. And I like that. Competition for places is massively important. All right, guys, so this is going to end today's video. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. So please, guys, comment, smash the like, share and subscribe. And I'll see you tomorrow for another one. Peace.